So I sold my mom an annuity, and I don't regret it. And I'm not burning in hell. That's right. You've heard these before. You've heard these statements from financial people in the world, advertisements on the internet, TV, radio. I've heard one recently. The big one was I would die and go to hell before I'd sell an annuity. That was a biggie that we'd hear for a number of years. And then recently I was listening to radio as I'm off to do, and there was a financial person on there, and he said, I wouldn't sell annuity to my mom. And I thought, well, I did. Does that make me a bad person? And so I listened to it, and I want to talk about that today. Let me bring in my co-host, Tony Shore. Tony, I'm not a bad person, but according to some other people out there, I should be in hell right now for selling my mom an annuity. And full disclosure, my mom has passed away, but I sold it to my mother-in-law, but I call her mom. So yeah, am I bad? Is that the question? Have you heard these comments and statements like this before?
I have. You hear them all the time from a certain so-called, from a handful, not from most, but you do hear this from a handful of people. And I think it's just a way for them to say, hey, I have integrity because I wouldn't sell you an annuity. And they're trying to get people to trust them because they say they wouldn't sell an annuity. The irony is some of those people who have said that actually sell annuities or own annuities themselves. We come to find out, but it is interesting. I hear this, you hear it, here and there all over the country, from in ads mainly. And I find it ridiculous because obviously I recommended when my dad inherited money from his father's CD after my grandfather passed. It was right when the interest rates jumped up. And I told him to get a MYGA because we looked at CDs and CD rates and lengths and contracts. And I said, you got to look at a MYGA. Oh, I've heard annuities are bad. And I'm like, well, a MYGA is pretty much exactly like a CD. I mean, the only difference is it's not through a bank that's insured by the federal government. It's through an insurance company that has other ways, and your money's guaranteed up to $250,000. It wasn't that big of an amount anyway. But I'll tell you what, the interest rate was a little better. The terms and the rates were better. So why not? We did the math. I don't understand.
Because you go to hell.
Oh, that's right. Now I'm going to burn.
But I think about this and I joke, I think it's great. The fact that people are talking about these is great. But the negative part of this is that it gives all the annuities a bad name. If you dig deeper into some of the discussions that these people have, if they're true financial people that understand finances, they will come to the conclusion that, not all annuities are bad, but it's easier to paint a broad stroke across the radio wave or the internet to be sensational. It's a sensational statement that gets the phone to ring.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for over a decade now, a dozen years, 15 years or so. And every month, maybe not every month, but very often, I will meet someone new to me. They come to me and they want to retire in 3 years or 5 years, or they just retired and they're like, hey, what do I do? And we meet and I do my first initial consultation with them. I learn about them, figure out their situation. And I draft like a very high level, not much detail, but a very high level retirement income plan, because that's what I do. I'm a retirement income guy. And I present it back to them and say, here's my philosophy. What do you think? Go think about it. Go get some second opinions. And if you want to work with me, we can take it to the next step. And undoubtedly, I often will get someone that comes back to me and says, Dan, I like what you're saying. I felt good about it. You seem to know a lot about what you're talking about. But you threw the idea of buying some annuities in there. When I talked to other financial people, they said, run away from that guy. No one else is suggesting annuities. You're the outlier here. So I'm not comfortable with this. I don't like it. So I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to go down the traditional 60-40 stock bond portfolio for me. And I feel comfortable with that. I don't like annuities. I've heard bad things about them. I get that a lot. And I'm fine with that. My
Sure.
response is,
you don't push annuities very hard anyway. You're not big on them.
no,
You're not one of these insurance only guys who are just pushing
right.
annuities. That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to get commissions. And that's where annuities get a bad rap. And that is why what you just said is why these other financial firms and companies and individuals are out there saying, "Oh, annuities, I wouldn't sell my mother an annuity," because they want to attract, "Hey, I'm not one of those annuity guys," because there is this misconception out there that all annuities are bad, which is totally untrue.
It's sensational. It's wrong. And I think it's the opposite of being a fiduciary. I'm going to get into the exact annuity that I sold my mom and explain that. But before I do, I want to talk generally about annuities. There are certain things that the problems that annuities solve that other things can't. And what's missing on a lot of this sensational, "I'd rather go to hell than sell an annuity," or "I'd never sell my mom an annuity," is, well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe your mom isn't a good candidate for an annuity. Mine was. And I'm solving for certain things that a lot of financial advisors don't solve for, and that's income, longevity risk, and just general risk tolerance is lower, because I focus on retirees or people soon to be retired. So they have a very different need. They don't need to grow, accumulate. They need to decumulate. And we did a just show on, how difficult it is to get people to spend their money.
Yeah.
And it's because of a fear. And annuities solve for a lot of this just by their design. Pensions of the past are gone. Those are just annuities. Social Security is an annuity. It's an annuity payment that pays for life. So, and you can get this joint life, single life, but you can't replicate that, because what I hear is, well, this is what the financial people will say: "I can recreate an annuity using a portfolio made up of blah, 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 blah. And bonds or stocks, dividends, structured notes. I could do this." And yes, you can. You can replicate the income, perhaps, maybe even get more, but you can't replicate that risk profile. And you certainly can't represent the longevity risk.
You can't.
What if I live to 110?
Right.
Will my dividend portfolio always be there for me? Will the dividend players of today
Like my
be the
grandpa
same
Bob?
in 10 years?
My grandpa Bob lived to 101, and he was going strong, still spending money, going camping 2 months before he died, past the age of 100. So, then your stock, your income in retirement from just having a stock and bond portfolio doesn't work. Plus, there's no protection. If the stock market crashes and goes down 30% in a year, you can have an annuity that has principal protection where you never touch the principal, right?
The risk profile people have is, maybe you need income, and annuities are great for that. Maybe you just don't want risk. What's wrong with a CD or a fixed annuity? Is it bad? Can you recreate that and get a dividend portfolio or a bond that pays the same as a CD? Yeah, you could, but there's risks associated with it. How did the bond portfolios do in 2022? How did worst year in the history of bonds, right?
Yep.
But you don't hear about that. Oh, bonds are great. No. I have people in bonds. I don't care what they're in, to be honest. I'm agnostic about what tools to use, but I won't vilify a tool, especially when it comes to retirement income. I'm a retirement income guy. Annuities and retirement income go like this.
Plus, you're a fiduciary. You have to look out for the best interest of your client. And a lot of these people who are saying these crazy things about annuities, they also have to look out for the best interest of their client. But like you alluded to, you would argue that they're not, because the only way you're looking out for the best interest of your client is if you put them if there's a tool available that's better for them than the other. In the long term, you need to use it. And so you need to be open to all possibilities. If you're saying this is completely off the table, I'm not going to look at that no matter what they come out with. A new annuity with no fees, principal protection, decent rate of return. I don't care. I won't sell that to you. That's not being a good fiduciary. And saying you shouldn't have any money in stocks and bonds isn't being a good fiduciary. And that's what I find funny is for our listeners out there, Dan, I think the bottom line is, tell me what you think of this. I view it, and looking at this from the outside, looking at you, looking at these other people saying these other things, what I see is, and what I think a lot of our listeners need to understand is, when it comes to financial advisors or financial planners, professionals, you have a lot of times you have two groups: insurance only, and those are the people that are going to be pushing annuities. And then on the other side, you have fee-based financial advisors that all of the majority of their income comes from fee-based, and that's investments. And that's where they do better. So the investment fee-based people are saying, you can't ever do an annuity. The insurance only people are saying, you got to do an annuity. And what you need to find is somebody who's willing to look at everything out there, all possibilities, and say, for your personal situation, we're looking at your plan. Here's what's going to help you come out ahead and have the retirement income that's going to last the longest, and really ensure your peace of mind. Right?
You're right.
Is that
I
right?
have it up here. Yeah, and you've gone to the two. You said fee-based and versus commissions, but the fee-based is in the middle. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
There's also fee-only.
Fee only.
And these are
yes.
right. And so I have no problem with any of these.
Yeah.
However, the commission only, so someone that's only selling life insurance for one company, if you go to them with a problem, guess what the answer is?
Yeah.
It's life insurance from that company.
If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to use, if you're going to go with insurance, you're going to want to use a broker that could cover all the insurance companies. You don't want to work for someone that's captive for one, because, they might be doing the best they can with the tools they have, but they're limited. On the opposite spectrum of commissions only are fee only.
Right. And that's what I was alluding to. Yeah.
Now, there are different types of fee only. Fee only might be someone that charges a flat fee for a plan. I'm going to charge you $2,000 to create a plan. You go implement it. You go figure out what you need. And those people can easily be for and against annuities, but most likely they probably be, oh yeah, you should probably get some CDs, cash, annuity, go buy some treasuries, buy some stocks, here's some bonds, use it all, right? There's also the fee-only people that charge assets under management fee. I charge an asset under management fee. That's a flat fee. I charge 1% and go down from there. 1% fee to manage your money. Oh, you want to invest in the market, or you want a portfolio of bonds or stocks, or mutual funds or something like this? I'll do that for you. I'll pick the funds for you. I will help you with that. ETFs, or we could do just individual stocks. There's a fee. There are people that only do that. So to say, hey, should I get some cash? Should I buy a CD? Should I buy an annuity? They used to call it, I don't know if I haven't heard it in a while, but the people that charge a fee used to call it annuicide. My client committed annuicide, because what's happening is they're taking the money out of the fee-based account, moving it over to annuity where they don't charge a fee. So it's like, geez, I don't have a fee anymore. So they hold themselves, sometimes, not all, again, not all. Sometimes they hold themselves to a high standard, like, I'm fee only, and anyone that charges commissions is tainted. Now, I'm going to be tainted for life because I have an insurance company that does a lot of Medicare and health insurance. I do Affordable Care Act plans. That by nature, that's all commission based. Health insurance is commission based, isn't it? And so I help people do it.
Unless you say you don't need any insurance ever for any reason, there's never any reason to have any type of insurance. Why wouldn't you want to work with a financial planner who can help figure out the best possible solution, who's an independent, who can look at all the different insurance? Because you need some of both. And that's why investment firms that are fee only are going to poo-poo annuities every time.
Right.
And that's why insurance firms that are insurance only, and you're in the middle, you're fee-based, so you do fee-based investments, but you also can say, hey, you know what, in your situation, a cash value life insurance is a really good option to get tax-free income in retirement. I mean, why wouldn't you want that on the table? That's crazy. And why wouldn't you want fee-based options and investments? You have to have that growth. So I don't understand how it got to the point where it is. I think it's just the advertising and the fear mongering that the
It's follow the
investment
money,
people.
Tony.
Yeah.
You got to follow the money. Like, how are you getting paid? If I'm only going to get paid if you buy this life insurance policy, that's all I'm going to sell. If I'm only going to get paid if I manage your accounts and charge an asset under management fee, that's all I'm going to do.
You're going to want
And
all
so
their
there's
money in
nothing-
investments if that's how you
That's
make
it.
your money. Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
well, I need some cash on hand. Well, we'll put you in a fixed income portfolio that'll be, why not? Why wouldn't I just buy a treasury? Well, because I can't, So I'm not saying all fee onlys will poo-poo a treasury or a annuity. I'm just saying there are extremes on both sides.
Mhm.
I don't hate or dislike anybody, and I don't think anyone offering one thing or another is going to hell. What is a fiduciary? Someone acting in your best interest. Can a fee-only advisor be a fiduciary? Yeah. Can a commission-based insurance agent be a fiduciary? Well, the law says no, but right now they say yeah. Best interest. It's just a gray area. But I question this: can you be a fiduciary if you don't utilize annuities? Well, annuities are the devil. Well, I can make a case that stocks are the devil. Cryptocurrency, devil. Reverse mortgages. Reverse mortgages. Oh my gosh. Tom Selleck, get out of here. Oh, how about gold? William Devane. He's the devil. Reincarnate. REITs, real estate investment trusts, precious metals, structured notes, mutual. I can make a case that all of these are devil's tongue. Right. And the point is, once you take that approach and say, reverse mortgages are the end of the world, that would be the most stupidest thing I've ever heard anyone do. What kind of fiduciary are you? Because if they didn't make sense for somebody, they wouldn't exist, right? At some point, these products just go away.
Yeah.
And the product people, they build products. If they go and then they hire salespeople. If they can't sell it, doesn't make sense, they'll go away. But to just blanket statement, I will never sell an annuity to my mom. Well, what if she needs, what if that's the best tool for the job?
Yeah.
Right. You can't be a fiduciary if you don't look at everything. Now,
Right.
you can have
you
an
say
opinion.
annuity, but there's so many different kinds, and we've done shows on that. You've talked about that a lot, Dan.
So,
but I mean, fixed index annuities are hugely popular with baby boomers,
They
and
are.
there's a reason, because there's little to no fees. The principal is protected. So it is interesting.
The problem with the fixed indexed annuities are they're sold more than they're purchased, because again, there's this fear of annuities, and they're not all they're cracked up to be. They aren't the be all end all, like, oh, you get market participation with no downside. Yeah, you get no downside, but there's surrender charges. So you're locking in your money. And then what's the upside? There's limits. Now, certain ones have much better upside than others, but how do you know that? How do you know that as a consumer that you're getting the one with the highest upside and the least downside? If the floor is zero for all of them, then how long do you go out? And so there are some gray areas there, and I could see why these fee-only people saying those are the devil, because they can be. You can get twisted into a 10-year contract without, the most you can make is 2%. You think you're making 8%, which is a joke. It's not. It's smoke and mirrors. But the key is, just throw them all out. Doesn't make sense. And that's what a lot of these people do. Now, let's talk specifically about some other annuities that and then we'll talk about the one I sold my mom. How about what if you need lifetime income? What's better than a single premium immediate annuity? This is income for life. You give the insurance company your money, they give you money back. Oh, I can replicate that with a CD. Yeah. How'd that go? Or bonds. Okay. Let's talk about CDs for a minute. How much was CDs paying last year? And how long do you go for? Can you buy a lifetime CD, locked it in? No. Can you buy a 10-year CD at a really high rate? Probably not. And do you want to do that? So CDs are great when they're great, but 2 years from now, and the rates are down, how's that going to work for your income? You got 100,000. Oh, I'm getting 5,000 a year, $450 a month or something like that from a CD. That's great. I can live off of that. Next year, the CD comes due, and now they're paying 2.5%. And now your income is in half. Oh, wait, I don't want my income to go in half. Well, then you shouldn't have relied on a CD, which variable rates. So a single premium median annuity is useful for somebody that says, I want an income for life. I need an extra 500 a month. Here's some money. Now I got it. Me and my wife are covered. What's wrong with that? And how can you replicate that? You can't. You can't replicate that because that's the whole point of an annuity. You can't replicate that with a bond or dividend stock portfolio. Here's the other one, and here's the one I sold my mom. Multi-year guarantee annuity. This is what you were just talking about your grandpa, or when your dad bought
my dad
from your grandpa's.
Yeah.
Fixed return for a fixed period of time. It's a glorified CD, except it's not a CD. It's with a bank. It doesn't have the FDIC insurance. It's got its own, state insurance. It's got penalties, severe penalties to leave early. You're not going to buy one of these things and then cash out next year. It'll be the stupidest thing you could do financially. So there's where they get you is, hey, I want a 5-year annuity paying 5.5%. Can I get that? Yeah. Every year, 5.5%, no more, no less. Yeah. What about in year 2? What's it going to pay? 5.5. Okay. What's the catch? Catch is if you pull out your money early, more than the interest or whatever, you're going to get hit with an 8% penalty. 8%. Well, that's almost double what I'm getting paid in interest. Yeah, well, try us. We'll show you in the contract where that fee is. So there are fees for these, but hey, what's wrong with locking in? You could probably lock in 6% for 10 years right now.
Yeah,
that's 2 years ago. Someone said that to you, you'd be like, give me it, right? So my mom has money in the bank. She's just saving it. She's like, I'm going to leave this for emergency. I don't need this. I don't need it. Well, then don't get 0.01%. We've done shows on short-term interest. I'll put them up there. Multi-year guarantee annuity is simple. There's no fees. And so the problem is to just throw that out and say all annuities stink. This is bad. I can replicate that. I can get that at treasuries right now. Well, for how long?
Yeah. If you have money, you're not going to need to touch for a period of time, like 5 or 10 years. Then a MYGA seems like it would be an amazing fit.
All right. Here's an example, Tony. You're going to retire in 5 years. You know it. You got it planned. I'm retiring in 5 years. And when I retire, I need $70,000 a year to live. But I want to hold off on Social Security because that makes sense. Put the videos up there. Yep. And I want to take that at 70, but I'm only going to be 65. So I need 70,000 a year for the next 5 years. Where am I going to get that from? All right, 5 years from now, we can put the money in the market. And on average, the market's done 8%. And I'll do that. But I know in 5 years, I'm going to need 70,000. Why not put 50,000 in a MYGA for 5 years? Let it grow. It's worth 70, guaranteed, whatever. We'll do the math, whatever it is. It's guaranteed to be worth X dollars in 5 years. And then you spend it. No risk in terms of your principal, as long as you don't touch it for those 5 years. And if you retire early, you need to have money elsewhere. But that makes sense to me. That's retirement income planning 101.
Yeah.
To just throw the annuity out because you don't get paid on it, or because
and the guarantees with annuities, the guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, which is why you need somebody who's going to look at all the companies, look at the good ones. And I read that there hasn't been an insurance company that's ever not paid an annuity.
I don't think I believe that. I know there's been some annuity insurance companies that have failed, and they get some sort of state.
The state can reimburse because they have to have state insurance, and it would happen in those cases though. Insurance companies, other bigger insurance companies take them over. And
usually they get bought out, or the state does receivership, but there are limits to how much they'll cover. So there's no guarantees in life, and you're always going to want to work with quality insurance companies, especially if you're taking lifetime income. You're going to want to, you're getting married. You might as well, suss them out and don't settle. So again, the key is though, just to watch out for the one trick ponies. Watch out for someone that says, I got the portfolio. This is what I do, stocks, bonds. Watch out for the person that says, I only sell annuities. Stocks are scary. Watch out for those people. Watch out for the people selling gold. Watch out for the real estate people. That's all they offer. You should buy physical gold in your IRA. This is the best thing since sliced bread. Put it all in there. The U.S. currency is going to collapse. I'm not saying it's bad to have physical gold. I'm just saying that's not everything, right? So watch out for the one-trick ponies. Annuities are a tool, very, very useful tool for retirement income planning. So a lot of financial advisors don't do retirement income planning, so they don't really see a need for annuities, and I can get that. I get that. If you're dealing with a 45-year-old still growing and figuring things out, they don't need an annuity, most likely. They probably don't. So don't, but you don't say you never will, because they probably will when they get older. And anyone that vilifies a tool outright, in my opinion, they're missing the boat. They're not utilizing all the tools available to them. And granted, their tools might be great and in the best interest of the client, but why not at least be aware of, and so to the defense of some of these people that are saying these outrageous statements, such as I'd rather die and go to hell, or I wouldn't sell an annuity to my mom. To their defense, they've said, yeah, not all annuities. If you look at the fixed annuities, like we were just talking about, the single premium immediate annuity, or, if you, and I won't sell one to my mom, but I'll compare it. I'll say, here's the annuity and here's the other option. What do you think? That's perfectly fine with me. But the sensational headlines are what bother me, and as long as once the client's in the door, they'll say, here's the annuity option, here's why it's inferior. I'm okay with that. But to get them in the door through this sensation, I kind of don't like it, but whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. I'm not going to.
It is what it is.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? The only thing that does bother me is that it makes it extra work for me when I throw it out there as an option. Now I have to be defensive about it. But I'm defending any option I give. Hey, we should buy the stock portfolio. Well, why international? Why wouldn't we stay in the U.S.? Well, here's why. Here's why I suggested international today. I have no problem doing that. Same with annuities. But it just seems like people come into my relationships with a bias against annuities because of this sensational media and trickery or advertising. Successful advertising, really. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So it works.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah.
So thanks for a good show, everyone. If you have some questions about this annuity that you own, or you're thinking about getting one, or you just want to learn more, I'd be happy to give you my opinion on it. And again, if you have one or not have one, you want to buy one, I don't care. If it makes sense for you, I'm going to recommend it. If it doesn't, I'm not going to talk about it at all. And that's it. We'll see everyone next week. Tony, stick around. I want to talk to you about that annuity purchase. I want to sell you one. Just kidding.
All matters discussed in today's show are for informational purposes only.
This show is not investment advice.
Dan Riddle nor Dolphin Financial Group are affiliated or endorsed by any government agency.
Investment advisory services are offered through Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor in the state of Florida.
Insurance products and services are offered through Dolphin Insurance, Inc.
Dolphin Wealth Management, Inc. and Dolphin Insurance, Inc. are affiliated companies doing businesses as Dolphin Financial Group.
You should talk to someone at Dolphin Financial Group before implementing any of these strategies or ideas.